This isn't my normal content, but it's something that I have to share with you guys because I've been going through it for a few months. Recently, I've been receiving an increase in threats on my license, an increase in death threats in my messages and comments, and it's been really scary. It's been difficult to be able to share the things that I'm finding online in the same way I was before because of these threats. It's just been taking a toll on me. If you don't know me, I'm Allie. I'm an American nurse. I was fired from my travel nurse contract after getting assaulted by a patient and suffering a seizure. For the past year, I've been sharing my story and sharing the corruption in our healthcare system, basically exposing that there is no healthcare. We are living in a sick care system that monetizes off of keeping people sick. It also monetizes off of not staffing properly and full of lies. The system is full of lies. And I've been sharing that on the internet, and I've received a awful amount of threats to my license and death threats on me. Going forward, I won't be holding back. I know what's going on. I see what's going on. I've lived it from every angle. I won't be silenced anymore.
We grow up trusting that when we're at our most vulnerable, the people taking care of us actually care. But what happens when the very system designed to heal you is stripped down, monetized, and run like a factory assembly line? We're watching a mass exodus in the medical field. The nurses who actually give a damn, the ones who want to treat patients instead of just hitting quotas, are being pushed out, silenced, or threatened. The healthcare industry is slowly being replaced by a sick care business model that profits off keeping people unwell and understaffed. Today, we're looking at the medical professionals who are risking their livelihoods to sound the alarm on a completely broken system.
You want to know what sucks? What sucks is working behind people who don't give a shit. It is heartbreaking how many people out here in healthcare just don't care. I am so flabbergasted at the amount of people who do not care about what they do. How do you sleep at night? Tell me, please. Because I would love to be able to turn it off and not worry about what you're not doing. I would love to be able to turn it off and say, you know what? Not my problem. I would love to hear a justification for how you signed up for a job to care for human beings. It's literally in the name, healthcare. Like, you have to care, right? Or am I just completely off base with that? How do you sign up for a job to care for human beings and you just don't give a shit? I'm sorry if I keep asking the same question, but it is astonishing to me the number of people that are employed as healthcare professionals who do not care. I am so beyond frustrated.
Here's another labor and delivery rant. I can't even make this shit up. It's so frustrating. I've been a labor and delivery nurse for over 10 years. I'm a certified spinning babies birth professional, and so physiological birth is very important to me. I believe it should be important to all labor and delivery nurses. Sorry, my mouth. I digress. Anyhow, here's a story. A real life example of what happens in labor and delivery. There was a patient that came in, first baby, came in at like 11 o'clock at night. Her water had broken. So they kept her. She was only 38 weeks. Didn't have any other problems. And she was 2 centimeters when she came in. Well, they admitted her. She was contracting, semi-painful contractions, not really super painful or anything. And the nurse did nothing with her all night. She came in around 11 o'clock, and when they checked her again, the last time they had checked her before I took over, it was like 6 a.m. So from 11 p.m. at night when she got there, she was 2 centimeters, to the next morning at 6 a.m., she was still 2 centimeters, and her water was broken. And it had broke on its own, and she was having some contractions, but she wasn't making any cervical change. Now this is why I say it's so important. The movement, the position changes, having a nurse that knows spinning babies, that knows how to help a mom's labor progress naturally. I did one position change with her because I knew what the problem was. I knew that her baby was still high in the pelvis. Her baby was not engaged in her pelvis. Her baby's head was nowhere near her cervix, and that is why she wasn't making any change. That babies have to be in the pelvis in the right way, in the right spot. I did one position change with her. I did Walters, which a lot of people don't do. They're afraid to do it sometimes. But this mom didn't even have an epidural yet or nothing. So all night long, she's 2 centimeters, nothing happened. That nurse that had her overnight did nothing with her to help her. I don't know if nurses do this because they don't care, because they're lazy, because they don't want to acquire any new skills. They've been getting away with mediocrity for 10, 15, whatever years, and so they have no desire to be motivated to help patients just out of the pure ethics of it, because it's the right thing to do, and that's why you're a freaking nurse. So I did that position change with her. Walters is where you basically just kind of bend over the bed but backwards, and what that does is it shifts your pelvis forward, the inlet of the pelvis. It shifts it forward so that the baby will fall down into the pelvis. And I've done other videos on this before. And so I did that with her for maybe like 10 minutes. Everything was good. And the next time that I checked her, a couple of hours later, she was 8 centimeters. 8 freaking centimeters in less than 3 hours. She had sat in that labor room for 7 or 8 hours and made no cervical change because no one bothered to try and figure out what they needed to do to help her. Now, she wound up delivering 4 or 5 hours later. She had an epidural and she delivered in hands and knees. Her husband was there. He was able to assist and help catch the baby. She did everything that she wanted to do her way, and it was a fantastic delivery. Your nurse, your labor and delivery nurse, can make or break your entire experience. It makes me so angry. I don't care if this is a rant and it goes on, but it makes me so angry that there are people out there that are allowed to be labor and delivery nurses who don't know the full extent of our responsibility to our patients, who don't apply themselves 100% to their skill, to their craft, to learn all of these things. Labor and delivery nurses should be required to be certified in spinning babies or bundle birth or something that says, hey, I can get your baby delivered. I can get your labor to progress in a different way, in a more natural way than just going up on the Pitocin. She delivered. She delivered vaginally. I never got above 8 on her pit. She got a tiny amount of Pitocin, very tiny. Had I not been her nurse today, it would have went completely different. Completely different. That baby would have probably stayed high in her pelvis, because most labor and delivery nurses do not do Walters. Her baby would have stayed high. Water would have been broken for 18, 24 hours. She probably would have gotten an infection and a failed labor. And there's a good chance she could have had a C-section. The point of this is, spinning babies works, but the person that's doing it has to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. It is not random. It is not, let me try this, let me try that, and see if it works. That's not how it goes. It is strategic. And it is so, so, so important. Doulas can also do this, if you have a doula. The thing is that physicians are impatient. And Nurses have a better way of dealing with physicians and talking to them on their same level than doulas do. Anyhow, I really want all labor and delivery nurses to see this, OB physicians, everybody, all the professionals that work in labor and delivery. Somebody out there, the powers that be, please change the rules. Can we make labor and delivery nurses learn this shit to help our patient outcomes? Why can't we do that? We're required to have life-saving skills, ACLS, BLS, NRP, all these certifications, fetal heart monitoring, all these certifications we are required to have. We should be required, labor and delivery nurses should be required to be fully trained in physiological birth processes, in spinning babies, in bundle birth, whatever that looks like. That is our most important skill, honestly, it really is. Sorry for the long rant, but hopefully somebody important will hear this message. Please share it out.
When you listen to these nurses, you realize this isn't just about bad days at work. This is the reality of corporate healthcare in America. Private equity firms and massive hospital networks have optimized the medical field to the point where actual human empathy is considered a liability. Nurses are stretched so thin that apathy becomes a survival mechanism. The ones who refuse to check their morals at the door, the ones pushing for proper physiological care over profitable medical interventions, are getting punished for it. We are paying record high insurance premiums to a system that leaves patients neglected in labor and delivery rooms because no one is given the time or incentive to actually help them. This isn't just a staffing shortage. It is a profound moral failure of the American medical industry. Have you or a loved one experienced this kind of apathy in a hospital recently? Are you a healthcare worker dealing with this exact burnout? I want to read about your experiences down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.